Hi everyone, I'm Tina, the creative guru with Jumps, Paper, Scissors. And for my last live for today, I am going to do a quick sampling of some of our new to us mixed media products. I'm going to play with some stencils from our stencil pack 2. I'm going to try out our new distress watercolor paper. I'm going to play with some distress oxide ink pads, our blending tools, and the Stickles glitter gel. And then I'm going to just start off with showing you without sampling because I'm inside and I hear that these are really strong scented and I have problems with that. So I will definitely be breaking these out tomorrow when I can go outside. But we have the new media gloss spray. It's an acrylic spray. And as you might be able to see, it has a layer. Like, see, there's a layer of heaviness at the bottom of this, and then you've got some thinner. And there's a rattle bead inside of it. So I will shake this up thoroughly and have the plastic, protective things off of it for tomorrow. So tomorrow I'm going to do several lives like today, although I am going to do our Science Sunday at 11 o'clock Pacific time. And we're going to do a little bit more with the Ranger products with I think we're going to stamp and use the distress inks, not our distress oxides yet, because we really aren't up to that in the science portion. We're building up to this. And this is actually what spurred me on going, hey, we're getting some amazing things. We're getting the basic chemistry and the science of these products is a wise choice because you will be able to create so much more if you have a foundation. But without further ado, I'm going to show you, we now have these blending tools. They're Velcro, and they're just stapled onto these wood blocks. If you have the makeup tool style or the rectangular ones, they all work. But if you're using distress inks, whether it's a distress oxide or the standard distress inks, remember what I taught you 2 Sundays ago, that you use the felted foam pads on your blocks because these are designed for distress inks. Distress oxide is super cool in the aspect of it combines the best features of a colorant as well as a pigment ink. So there's the colorant soaks into the fibers of your paper, and the oxide is the pigment that sits on top. So it blends up as nicely as standard distress inks, but it has an oxidization look that is just super striking. So I'm going to go ahead and move my camera this time. I've been having a secondary camera, but I was getting some haptic feedback in sound quality, and I'm not sure why. And so I couldn't fix it in the last hour. So I'm just going to move my webcam over to my stand. So you're going to have half a second of motion. Then I'm going to utilize, I have some water paper that I just cut out into strips because it's fun and easy to do samples and trials with. So hang on while we do a little journey over my space and get locked into my camera holder so that we've got a good view. As you may be able to tell, I have, oh, that's not hanging on well. There we go. I've got it, I think. I laid down my all-purpose mat because I intend to make some messes. So join me. I have quite a few different distress inks handy. I've got the peacock feathers, the mustard seed, pumice stone, black soot, mowed lawn. I love these names. Spiced marmalade, yum. Seedless preserves, and abandoned coral. Anybody that knows me knows I lean towards corals and marmalades and yellows and vibrant colors. So I'm going to just go on ahead and use this stencil on top. It's kind of got a little bit of a honeycomb feel, but I'm not going to cover my entire piece of watercolor paper. I'm just going to use a little smattering. And if you remember working with me on Silent Sunday, the nice thing about distress inks is you can't really contaminate your pads, and you can actually use one foam to do your entire project because it sits on top, right? And then it's specially formulated so that it doesn't actually get absorbed much. So you can pat it, you can blend it, you can just smear it on, but it just gives a little bit, and you notice it doesn't really blend heavily up into your inks, right? And just like standard distress ink, you hold it at a slight angle, start off to the side, and just gently start running your blending tool where you want it. And I'm going to get a little bit of that pattern from my stencil, as well as just having this blended feel up top. Now, if I was really worried about my pattern, I would use a piece of washi tape and secure my stencil down. But because I'm kind of doing this blended feel, I'm not too worried about it today. But again, if you want it to stay put, always going ahead and whip out that washi tape and tape this stuff down. If you don't have washi tape, painter's tape works well. As also, I'm picking up some of my abandoned coral. I'm going to start brushing that in. You see how this is just really blending super nice with that spiced marmalade. And I'm not going to go everywhere because I want some blues and some greens involved here too. So I'm going to switch out to, I think I'll go ahead and do this mowed lawn. Also, if you do worry about switching up your foams, I attach a piece of Velcro to the base or bottom side because there's this divot, right? And that's where because it's already designed to stick to Velcro on your blending tool, right? So I just go ahead and mount those if I'm that concerned about it. But notice you should be seeing some of that coral and orange, and there's no cross-contamination on this. It's super awesome. On a scientific and a crafting perspective, this is really amazing stuff. And I'm just going to go ahead and start blending this in. Every time you go over it, the heavier it gets, a little bit darker. If you stop, you may end up getting your blending tool showing. I'm going to pick up a little more green, add that in. So, and then let's liven this up with some of the peacock feathers. There we go. Again, I'm not too futzed over how it's gonna come on. And the more you add ink, the more vibrant and intense some of this is going to become. And don't worry about making it muddy because distress inks hold their color as they blend. So they're just fun. Okay, I'm going to move my stencil off. And isn't that fantastic? Wow. I'm going to go ahead. I was going to use some of the seedless preserves, but I really, yeah, let's go ahead. Let's add that along this little skated out boundary here. Let's just smoosh it on in. Maybe a little in. It's kind of fun. And every time you do this, even if you use the same stencils, you use the same colors, it just pops more and more and more. And it's just super vibrant and cool. It's always an adventure. I'm going to pick up some mustard seed and I'm going to really brighten this up. Mustard seed goes over everything well, and it makes all of your colors much more warm and inviting. So I saved this because I wanted to go over that honeycomb feel, right? And just get that beehive feel going nice and strong. And if you start on the edge, you can always pick up some of that distressed oxide and bring it onto your project, right? So there's that. And then to make this pop more, I like to edge my projects with either like black soot or pumice stone. And I think I'm going to go ahead and run it with pumice stone. It's just hopefully strong enough. If it's not, then I can always go back and add the black soot. So let's go ahead and add some of this to this edge, right? So just start running that edge out. Yeah, I don't feel like that's really darkening it enough. It's not enough of a punch. So let's go ahead and switch on over to the black soot and see how we like that. Typically, the black is good. This is kind of a nice charcoaly feel. So sometimes I'll use the brown, a warmer brown base, and see how that's just really already working at making my textures and my patterns warm up. So it doesn't take much. And it's just brushing it on, swirling it on, and adding that dimension, that visual pop to your projects. Then I'm probably going to actually add a little in that no man's land between where I had the stencil and where I didn't. I may or may not like it. I may decide, I want to add something else and really just get that burnt project feel, that antiquing. But I think I really am enjoying that. So I think I'm going to end there for the distress oxides. I'm going to bring it a little closer. You see how there's this faint antique oxidization, that coat, that film. That's the oxide, that's a pigment that sits on the surface versus the distress ink that's being absorbed in. And there's a slight metallic shimmer involved in that. I don't know if you can quite get that feel. I will be revisiting this piece in tomorrow afternoon's live. But for now, I'm going to just bring over my blank and open up for the first time my Nebula Stickles Glitter Gel. I did remove the cellophane just a moment ago. I have not popped this sucker open yet. Let's see. Ooh, look at those stars. And this glittery, speckly feel. It's a little thick. It's definitely a gel. I'm going to scrape that off. I don't know about you, but I'm one of those people that smells everything that I open. So hence the jar disappeared for a second. I'm going to use just a really large palette tool. Not because I think it needs it, or that it'll even fit in the jar right. But it's the one that I grabbed. So Yes, here's a closer look on the palette. Look at that fun. Oh my gosh, I do not know what I'm going to be doing with this, but I have to get some on some paper just to see how it spreads. And it's, oh, wow. Just doing a flat palette as if I'm spackling a wall, and it's just pouring and smoothing out. Super smooth. It's almost creamy in its texture on my palette knife. I'm going to bring it in so you can really see. I have no plans for this yet, right? So I'm just playing with it, seeing what I like. Do you see? I can see why they call this nebula. There's these little, almost metallic acetate dots that are this fun peacocky blue speckle that adds a glittery feel to it, as well as these gold stars and also some gold filament dots as well. Ooh, I am so gonna have fun with this. I have only a couple of other jars of this so far, but I am definitely adding this to my I must have all of list. Because wow, I can't wait to come up with a card, a scrapbook layout. Oh my gosh. Anyways, so that sums up my last live for today. I will be back tomorrow at 11 with our Science Sunday. And then I will continue doing lives until probably about this time tomorrow. Just one every half 45 minutes to an hour or so, introducing and playing with some new product. Have a great night and join us again tomorrow for some science, some creativity, some inspiration, and some storytelling. Have a great night. Bye.